All right, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to give people just like a minute to get their butts in here before I really begin. I know that a lot of people are sad today. I literally just found out within like the last half hour that Rush Limbaugh died, and I think that that's sad. I was not a fan of his, to be perfectly frank. He was not my particular cup of tea, but that doesn't mean that I think what the left is doing with celebrating it is pretty gross, if I'm honest. So I'm sorry for everyone who's sad about that today, but listen, folks, we've got some important business to do. We have some critically important business to do. And I need everyone's help here. I need everyone's help. Absolutely every single person can participate in this, and I am going to tell you how. So, last week, I found out that there was a bill introduced in the House in New Hampshire to effectively ban critical race theory from receiving state funding by banning state contractors from doing it. It's very similar to what Trump did when he banned federal government contractors and federal agencies from doing critical race theory with their employees. Like that, it's very similar to that, except this is on the state level. Now, this has a good chance of passing. I don't want to get like I don't want to do like I don't have an exact like let me just say like there is support for this. There is absolutely support for this. But in very predictable ways, the left is gearing up their little opposition machine and they are coming out in opposition to banning it. And there are a lot of people who are speaking up in opposition to banning this bill. Now, tomorrow is a very important day. So last week, there was like a 30-minute hearing on this bill in which the representative who introduced it got to talk about why he was introducing it. This happened in committee in the New Hampshire House. It was only 30 minutes, so they didn't have time to do testimony or any of that. But tomorrow at 1:30, there is going to be a follow-up hearing in which they are going to hear testimony and they're going to talk more about this bill in committee. Now, it is very, very important that this bill come out of committee with a positive recommendation. It is not impossible to pass it if it does not, but it is much easier to pass it if the bill comes out with a positive recommendation from the committee. So, what we all need to do and we all need to participate in is showing as much support for this bill as we possibly can. And yes, there are things you can do even if you do not live in New Hampshire. There are still ways that you can help out. So I don't want anyone saying, "Oh, I don't live there. This doesn't impact me." Guys, if the bill passes, this would be the first time in the country that critical race theory would be banned on a state level and could potentially provide a blueprint for other states on how to do it. It could also, frankly, give other states the GD backbone to do it because we all know this is an uphill battle and it is just the way it goes. So, what I'm going to do in this live stream is talk to you all about how you can help. I'm going to literally walk you through the process. And guys, this needs to be done today. This needs to be done today. You're not going to put this off. It takes about 2 seconds. It is not that big of a deal. It needs to be done today because the committee hearing is tomorrow and we want them to feel like as much support as we possibly can for tomorrow's committee hearing. And that's not to say that we shouldn't show support after that. We absolutely should, but this is what's important. So, in the description of this video, I have put some important links. I have put a link to the text of the bill. We are going to read the bill on the live stream so that everyone knows what's in it and everyone knows what it bans. We are going to read the bill. I've also put a text or a link. Actually, let me show you guys. So I have put a link to the committee, which lists all the members. So this is the committee that the bill is going to be heard in, the Executive Department's administration. Now, there are 10 Republicans on this committee. There are 9 Democrats. So it is very, very, very tight. We need every single Republican to come out in favor of it because, of course, we cannot rely on any of these Democrats. So the Republicans We have you might say, like, if you're looking at the list, you might say, Carlin, there are only 7 Republicans on the list of committee members. Well, Carol is on the committee, Terry is on the committee, and John is also on the committee. So there's 10 total, and we need every single person to come out in favor of this bill. So I have a link to this website in the description. If you go onto this website and you click into any single person, guess what? You get their email address. You get their phone number. Now, I'm not saying barrage them with calls, but at least, send an email. And especially, this is especially true if you live in New Hampshire. You can reach out to all of these people just to show them your support for the bill. All of their information is publicly available. I'm not doxing anyone. This is what this website is for, is to make this information publicly available. So you can call Tony here. We can send Tony an email telling him you support the bill, all that good stuff. We're going to do that. But there is something even more critical. So the other thing I have linked in the description below is this form. And this is the form that is specific for the hearing tomorrow. And every single one of you can go onto this form and fill it out to show your support of the bill. And yes, they do actually keep track. They do look at how many people indicated support for the bill and how many people indicated that they oppose the bill. They look at like the raw numbers of this. So let me go through and show you exactly what you need to do to fill out this form. First thing you need to do is to select the date of the hearing, which is going to be Thursday the 18th. Once you select the date of the hearing, it's going to give you a list of committees that are having hearings on that day. So you want to go into the House Executive Departments and Administration Committee. There you go. Then you're going to choose the bill. The bill that we are supporting is at 1:30 p.m. It is HB 544. So we select that. Then you select that you are a member of the public. You say you're representing yourself. That's already filled out. And then we can indicate our position on the bill. This is, hang on, did they change this? Hang on one sec. I want to check something. I posted this picture on Twitter yesterday, and I don't know if they've changed the form. Hang on. Stand by. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay. Maybe I can't even find this. Hang on. Oh, here it is, right here. Oh, no, they didn't change it. Okay, never mind. False alarm. So indicate your position on the bill. Obviously, we are supporting it. Okay? And that's all you need to do. Now, if you are in New Hampshire and you want to give testimony for this bill, you can absolutely do that. Any member of the public can sign up to testify. It would be about 3 minutes. 3 minutes is what they're saying is the max. So you can sign up to do that if you want to sit on a Zoom all day tomorrow. And I'm happy to provide more information about that. But you don't need to do anything more than that. So if you are wishing to testify on this bill, don't worry about this checkbox. And then you just click continue. And then you can fill. Oh, they added the state. That's funny. You know what? They added this yesterday. They changed the form, these fuckers. They added this yesterday. Guys, I don't even care. Here's what you do. First name, last name, Merrimack, New Hampshire. That actually isn't my email address. That was a typo in the email address. Put your email address in. I'm not even going to do that. Click continue. They added this yesterday. This did not used to have the address on it. So you know what I think happened? I think that when I started publicizing this, they got a boat ton of supporting of the bill, and they want to make sure everyone's in New Hampshire. Tell them that you're in New Hampshire. I don't even care. I'm not a elected representative. You fill out that form the way that you want. But that's all you need to do. Okay? That's all you need to do to show your support for the bill. That's funny. I see you, New Hampshire state government. I see you. But you know what, guys? Here's the thing. Do you think for one red second that the support that they've got, or the opposition that they've got on this bill from the left, do you think that's all coming from New Hampshire? No, it is not. And actually, Xander is confirming this. Not yesterday, today. I filled out the form with no state required, only email. It wasn't changed. Oh, I filled out the form with no state required, only email. Okay, well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay, Michael says he's in New Hampshire. If you guys want some good, like, you want to know some towns in New Hampshire, Manchester is in New Hampshire. Concord is in New Hampshire. Nashua is in New Hampshire. Littleton is in New Hampshire. I got married in Littleton. Conway is in New Hampshire. There are lots of places in New Hampshire that you can go find a town. That's all I'm saying. And you guys got to do what you want to do. But that's what you can do. The form is in the description below. Fill it out, show that you support the bill. Now, I also recommend that listen guys, like I know that the Republicans are getting heat on this bill already. I think they're also getting support, but make sure you reach out to people and let them know that you are supporting the bill. The snake lady is watching and reporting on me. Do you guys see? Oh, she's got a surprise coming tomorrow. I'll tell you what. Did you guys see? I was featured in a local news story about this bill specifically. Hang on, I'll show you. The snake lady. I log everything via Twitter, obviously. Here it is. There's already been a story about me fighting with this state representative. Representative Chris Schultz wants schools to teach white kids that they are inherently racist. This is in the Granite Grok, which I will put a link to in the chat so you guys can see it. Yeah, yes, Granite State, man. I signed up. This is super important. Yes, guys, I live in New Hampshire. Thank you for doing this. So before anyone says that you're not getting anyone from New Hampshire from my stuff, Chris Schultz, because I'm sure that's probably you're one of the people that's coming from. You got to make like there are people in New Hampshire. I'm a New Hampshire resident. Yes, absolutely. And guys, those of you who live in New Hampshire or you know someone living in New Hampshire, it is so important. Hang on. I lost the form. It is so important that you tell them. Everyone in New Hampshire needs to fill out this form in support of this bill. If you have friends in New Hampshire, if you have family in New Hampshire, you need to pass this form along. We have got to get as many people supporting this bill as we possibly can. Yes. Hudson, sign from Hudson. Thank you, Kimmy. Yes. I'm a New Hampshire resident. I just saw this stream. Absolutely. Everyone's got to be sharing this as much as possible, and you got to encourage your friends once they sign it, get their wives to sign it, husbands to sign it, boyfriends, girlfriends, mother, father, grandma, all the kids. Like everyone needs to be filling out this form in support. Now, what are we actually supporting? Let's take a look at the bill. Because the bill is really simple, actually. It's only 2 pages long. This is not, I guess it's 3 pages. Well, maybe it's as many as 4 pages long. But let's read the bill. And as I'm reading the bill, I'm going to give you guys time while you're listening to me read the bill to go into the chat and get the link to the form supporting the bill. All right, let's see. This is HB 544. And the bill is called The Propagation of Divisive Concepts Prohibited. Definitions in this chapter. Okay, so contractor means any or all persons, individuals, corporations, or businesses of any kind that in any matter have entered into a contract or perform a subcontract pursuant to a contract with the state of New Hampshire. So this is directed specifically at people who are entering into contracts with the state. Divisive concept means that has a whole bunch of definitions. So these are the things that are being taught, and we all know that this is happening in organizations. We know this is happening in schools. These are the specific concepts that would be banned in organizations that are contractors with the state of New Hampshire. Number 1, you cannot teach that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. That's banned if you support this bill. You cannot teach that the state of New Hampshire or the United States is fundamentally racist or sexist. Banned if you support this bill. You cannot teach that an individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. You cannot teach an individual should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex. You cannot teach that members of one race or sex cannot and should not attempt to treat others without respect to race or sex. So essentially, that one is an argument of like people who say that I don't see race or I don't treat people differently because of their race. This is specifically addressing that. So it's saying that like, that's okay. It's okay to do that. Number or F, an individual's moral character is necessarily determined by his or her race or sex. You cannot teach that. Also banned, an individual by virtue of his race or sex bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. Banned. H. Any individual should feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or other forms of psychological distress on account of his or her race or sex. Essentially, that's saying white people shouldn't be taught that they should feel guilty because of racism from slavery freaking 200 years ago, right? We should not experience epic amounts of white guilt that's debilitating, which is exactly what these trainings try to teach you. You should never be ashamed of how you were born. That was out of your control. You should never be ashamed of that. Next, this bill bans teaching that meritocracy or traits such as hard work ethic are racist or sexist or created by a particular race to oppose another race. And lastly, you cannot teach the term divisive concepts include any other form of race or sex stereotyping or any form of race or sex scapegoating. It bans both those things. So what does that mean? What does race or sex stereotyping mean? And what does race or sex scapegoating mean? Well, race or sex stereotyping means ascribing character traits, values, morals, ethical codes, privileges, status, or beliefs to a race or sex or to an individual because of his or her race or sex. Can't teach that. You also cannot teach race or sex scapegoating, which means assigning fault, blame, bias to a race or sex or to members of a race or sex because of their race or sex. It summarily encompasses that any claim that consciously or unconsciously, by the virtue of his or her race or sex, members of any race or sex are inherently racist or are inherently inclined to oppress others, or that members of a sex are inherently sexist or inclined to oppress others. So I think we basically get the gist. There is nothing racist about this bill. In fact, the banning of the teaching of these concepts is actually about lessening racism. If you agree, like people who oppose this bill, like which one of these factors do they disagree with? Which one of these factors do they oppose? Do they support teaching people that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex? Like why else, like why would anyone support why would anyone oppose banning that? Why would anyone support this as a concept? If you oppose this bill, that means that you fundamentally believe that we should be teaching people that one race or sex is inherently superior to another, or that the state of New Hampshire or the United States is fundamentally racist or sexist, or that an individual, because of how they were born, is fundamentally inherently racist or sexist. These are all incredibly racist and sexist concepts that we should not be teaching to people. And the problem is this. The problem is that when people go into work and have this training pushed on them by an employer, they don't have the ability to opt out. They don't have the ability to say no, because if they say I'm not doing that training where you're going to make me admit that I'm a racist, and that is literally what happens in these trainings. They essentially break off they separate, they segregate the white employees from all of the non-white employees, and the white employees have to admit to their inherent racism and apologize for it and feel guilty about it simply because of the color of their skin. That is what happens. And when this happens in organizations, you don't have the ability to say, I'm not doing that training. I'm not going to say that I'm racist, because if you push back on it, even if you question it, you could lose your job. That's the reality. If you push back on it in any way, you could lose your job. That is why it's important to ban these concepts. No one should have to say, I am a racist in order to keep their jobs. That should not be allowed anywhere and should absolutely not be allowed in the state whose flipping motto is live free or die. So this bill explicitly bans state contractors from forcing this training on their employees, and it prevents state money from being spent to teach people that they are racist. All right, let's keep going. The state of New Hampshire means all agencies and political subdivisions of the state of New Hampshire, including counties, cities, towns, school districts, and the state university system. Student means any and all students of any school district, school, college, or university which receives grants, funds, or assets from the state of New Hampshire. All right, now we get into the bill. Unlawful propagation of divisive concepts. Requirements for the state of New Hampshire. The state of New Hampshire shall not teach, instruct, or train any employee, contractor, staff member, student, or any other individual or group to adopt or believe any of the divisive concepts that we've already outlined. They're all banned. State can't teach it. No employee, contractor, staff member, or student in the state of New Hampshire shall face any penalty or discrimination on account of his or her refusal to support, believe, endorse, embrace, confess, act upon, or otherwise assent to the divisive concept. So, what this is saying is that you ain't going to be forced to say that you're racist. No one is going to be forced to say that they are racist in the state of New Hampshire. Moving on, requirements for government contractors. All state contracts entered into or after the effective date of this chapter shall include the following provision. During the performance of this contract, the contractor agrees as follows. The contractor shall not use any workplace training that inculcates in its employees any form of race or sex stereotyping or any form of race or sex scapegoating, including concepts that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. An individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. An individual shall be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex. Members of one race or sex cannot and should not attempt to treat each other with respect to race or sex. An individual's moral character is necessarily determined by his race or sex. An individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. An individual shall feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of his or her race or sex. Meritocracy or traits such as hard work ethic are racist or sexist, or were created by a particular race to oppress another race. The term race or sex stereotyping, then it has the definitions again. So that should be included in every contract that people enter into with the state of New Hampshire. I think that's pretty fair. Rogue One says, I live in New Hampshire, and as a state employee, they are pushing us to take this training. Exactly. And guys, if you have examples, if anyone has examples of specifically what is going on in the state of New Hampshire, please reach out to me. In fact, let me show you exactly how. Please reach out to me and tell me those examples, and I will try my very best to include them in my testimony. What you want to do is go to drcarlin.com. The link is in the description, and you want to go to the contact button and just fill out this form. If you have direct experience with this in the state of New Hampshire, please email me and let me know, and I will do my very best to include that in my testimony tomorrow, because this is really important. I think that a lot of people think that this is not happening in New Hampshire, and it absolutely is. I know for a fact that it is, and we need these stories. There's also Representative Keith Ammon has set up a way for people to call in and leave voicemails for him, and he'll play them like anonymously. He won't include people's names. So look into that as well. That's Keith Ammon. And he's the representative that introduced the bill and is sponsoring it. So make sure you tell these stories, guys. This is not a time to hold back. If you have been waiting for a time to speak up, now is the time to speak up, because what happens to this bill in New Hampshire could conceivably have an impact outside of New Hampshire. I'm sure many of you know, like, if you don't live in New Hampshire yourself, and I know I have a lot of people in the chat right now who do live in New Hampshire, you've got to make sure that even if you don't live in New Hampshire, reach out to anyone that you know, reach out to your friends and family that do, and let them know this is going on. All right, let's continue. A contractor shall send to each labor union or representative of workers with which the contractor has a collective bargaining agreement or any or other contract or understanding a notice to be provided by the agency contracting officer advising the labor union or workers representatives of the contractor's commitments under this section, and shall post copies of the notice in conspicuous places to employees and applicants for employment. So that's just saying, like, you're going to communicate with your unions what's going on. That's it. That's all that's saying. In the event of the contractor's not compliance with the requirements of this section with any rules, regulations, or policies that may be promulgated in accordance with this section, the contractor may be canceled, terminated, or suspended in whole or in part, and the contractor may be declared ineligible for future government contracts. The contractor shall include the provisions of this section in every subcontract or purchase order unless exempted by the rules, regulations, or policies of the Department of Administrative Services, so that such provisions shall be binding under the contractor or vendor. The contractor shall take such action with respect to any subcontract or purchase order as may be directed by the Department of Administrative Services as a means of enforcing such provisions, including sanctions for noncompliance. Section 3. The Department of Administrative Services or an agency designated by that Department of Administrative Services is directed to investigate complaints received alleging that a state contractor is utilizing such training programs in violation of the contractor's obligations under the binding provisions of this section. The department shall take appropriate enforcement action to provide remedial relief as appropriate. So basically they're putting in a mechanism for people to be able to report if their employers are ignoring this bill when it eventually gets signed into law, which we're all just going to manifest that, guys. We're going to already envision that this bill has already passed, and that critical race theory is banned in New Hampshire. Thank you. All right. Section 4. The heads of all agencies shall review their respective grant programs and identify programs for which the agency may, as a condition of receiving such a grant, require the recipient to certify that it will not use state funds or assets to promote any of the divisive concepts listed. Requirements for agencies. The fair and equal treatment of individuals is an inviolable principle that must be maintained in the state workplace. Agencies should continue all training that will foster a workplace that is respectful of all employees. Accordingly, the head of each agency shall use his or her authority under to ensure that the agency employees while on duty status and any contractors hired by the agency to provide training, workshops, forums, or similar programming for purposes of this section, training to agency employees do not teach, advocate, act upon, or promote in any training to agency employees any of the divisive concepts. Agency diversity and inclusion efforts shall, first and foremost, include agency employees not to judge each other by their color, race, ethnicity, sex, or any other characteristic protected by federal and state law. And the Commissioner of the Department of Administrative Services, pursuant to the RSA 541A, shall develop regulations for the enforcement of the provisions. Each agency head shall issue a policy incorporating the requirements of this chapter into agency operations, including making compliance with the policy a provision in all agency contracts. Request that the agency thoroughly review and assess, not less than annually thereafter, agency compliance with the requirements of the policy in the form of a report submitted to the Department of Administrative Services and assigned at least one senior political employee responsible for ensuring compliance with the policy. Then there's a section about reviewing of agency training. All training programs for state agencies, employees relating to diversity and inclusion shall be used before being used shall be reviewed by the Department of Administrative Services for compliance with the requirements. And then it goes on. General provisions. This is important, guys. This is like probably one of the most important sections of this bill. Nothing in this chapter shall prevent agencies or contractors from promoting racial, culture, or ethnic diversity or inclusiveness, provided These efforts are consistent with the requirements of the chapter. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed to prohibit discussing as a larger course of academic instruction the divisive concepts listed in RSA 10C 1, 2 in an objective manner without endorsement. Okay? And finally, if any provision of this chapter or the application of any provision to any person of circumstance is held to be invalid, the remainder of the chapter, blah, 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 blah. And then it'll go into effect in 2022. So basically, what this is saying, guys, and this is really important, is that not this doesn't prohibit just like general training that talks about different life experiences and different cultures. It doesn't include that. It doesn't ban that at all. If you are doing the good kind of diversity and inclusion training, that's still allowed. The things that are not allowed are teaching people that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. Teaching people that the state of New Hampshire in the United States is fundamentally racist. Teaching people that by an individual is born inherently racist. Those are the concepts that are banned. If you are doing diversity and inclusion training that does not include these concepts, you're cool, man. You're cool. You can still do it. This is not prohibited. So, again, for those of you who may have just joined, how can you help? How can you help? Well, in the description, there are some links. One of the links is going to give you a list of the members of the committee. We need to urge every single Republican on this committee to include Carol McGuire, to include Terry Roy, and to include John Seatak. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. To include all of the officers of the committee and all the people with R's next to their name. Every single one of them needs to endorse this bill. This bill needs a positive recommendation out of committee. Juliet says, slow down my speech. Dude, go read the bill. You guys don't need me to read the bill for you. I have linked the bill in the description below. You are welcome to have it on your screen to read it yourself. That is an option. So we need to reach out to these people. We need to let them know that we all support this bill, that they should support this bill. Essentially, guys, let me be blunt. We need to give these Republicans a spine. We need to make sure that they will all have backup, that they know that they will have backup in supporting this bill, because you know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. You know exactly what's going to happen. The Democrats on the committee, and particularly Christina Schultz and Jean Judy, these are two problem people right here. Jean Judy and Christina Schultz, they pulled the racism card in the last committee hearing. So you know they're going to come out and do it again. I already have a plan to deal with Chris. Chris and I are going to be friends. I have a plan for her, but we need to let the Republicans know that people have their backs. So this is particularly true and pertinent if you live in New Hampshire, and I know many people watching right now do. You have to reach out to them. You have to let them know. You also need to fill out this form. And again, I have linked this form in the description below. You go in, you select Thursday the 18th, because the committee hearing is tomorrow. You select the House Executive Departments and Administration Committee. You select 1:30 p.m. of HB 544. You select a member of the public. You select that you're representing yourself, and you select I support this bill, and you click continue. And every single person can do this. You don't need to live in New Hampshire to do this. It's going to have more impact if you live in New Hampshire. Of course, it's going to have more impact if you live in New Hampshire, but you do not let them know. Someone in the chat said, where did she say it? Beth said, let them know other states are watching. Yes, let them know that other people are watching. Let them know that people all over the country have their back. Everyone can sign this form. You do not have to live in New Hampshire to sign the form. Okay? And if you know anyone in New Hampshire, you need to pass this on to them, and you need to do it today. No more pussyfooting around. I don't want any excuses. If you know anyone, even if it's just one single person that lives in New Hampshire, you pass this on to them today. You email them, you text them, you say, hey, have you heard about this thing? You need to speak up. If you're not going to do it today, then there ain't nothing you're going to do. then you are useless to me. I'm gonna be honest. If you know people in New Hampshire and you are not willing to pass this on to them, like, I have no use for you. You are not useful in this fight. And so, like, this is the time, folks. If you've been holding back, if you've been waiting, we're here. We have the opportunity to all get this done together. Yes, Adrian said done and shared through my contracts. Absolutely. Absolutely. You do not need to lie to sign it. You don't need to lie. I'm not promoting that you lie. But you do get to select what state you're signing it from. I'm just saying. But I signed it because I live in New Hampshire. I do, in fact, in real life, live in New Hampshire. All right. So, does anyone have any questions about any of this? And again, everything is in the description below. Miles just signed it. Thank you, Miles. Let's see. I'm happy to take questions. I know a few super chats have come in, so let me look at those real quick. Let's see. Marianne, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. I do appreciate that. Cyrus says, I got my eye on Stacey Abrams too. I bet she loves critical race theory. Did you hear Biden says minorities can't use the internet? I did hear that Biden said that minorities can't use the internet. I was perplexed by many things that Joe Biden said last night, if I'm honest about it. Again, it's like the bigotry of low expectations, man. Yes, Dee Dee says, listen, New Hampshire residents, are we the live free or die state or not? Get on it today. Guys, this happens today. Today, they already have. Guys, I know I've heard a little birdie told me that 1,600 people have submitted this form opposing the bill. We need to blow them out of the water. I don't want it even to be close. Mimi says New Hampshire residents signed. Thank you. 1,600 people on the opposition, guys. Wait, like this should not even be, this is not even hard to get 1,600 people. I can get 1,600 people today, but we need to blow them out of the flipping water. I want so much support coming out for this bill. They don't know what hit them. These are state representatives, guys. These are state representatives in the tiny little state of New Hampshire. I want a big giant spotlight shown on this. I don't want we are having no mercy on these people. This is our chance to get this bill passed in my state. I'm not screwing around. Everyone needs to come out for this. Yeah, you can sign your real state. There's an option for the states. I don't care. Jeffrey says, I signed up. Let's do this. Yes. And everyone, yeah, exactly, aka Glenn. 1,600 actual racists oppose the bill. That is exactly right. Guys, listen. I saw a meme. Actually, let me bring the meme up. It's on my Instagram page, so I know I can bring it up. Hang on. Hang on. This is important. Okay. Share. If you have ever wondered, starting again. If you have ever wondered what you'd do during slavery, the Holocaust, or the Civil Rights Movement, you're doing it right now. You're doing it now. What you do when you have an opportunity to support things like this is what you would do in any of these pivotal movements of our experience. Are you going to stand up for what's right? Are you going to fight back against the blatant racism of this bill? Or are you going to sit on your thumb and whine about all of the things we have working against us? If you aren't going to come out and fill out a form, that's all you need to do, guys. Fill out a form. That's it. I'll even leave this up. I will leave this up because this is exactly how you need to fill out the form. Then hit continue and fill out the rest of it. Yes. Signed from Milton Mills, New Hampshire. And now you share it with all of your friends. Share it with all your friends. James says, I'm from Massachusetts, but I got a ton of friends up there. Just emailed a bunch of them. Yes. Yes. The hearing is not today. The hearing is tomorrow at 1:30. No more whining. Do it. Exactly. No more whining. Sign from Hooksett. Yes. How many people in the chat are from New Hampshire? I want to know, how many people are we No, we do no, 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 no chaotic suicide. No, we are in favor of the bill. We support the bill. The bill bans critical race theory. We are in support of the bill. The opposition are racists. But I want to know how many people in yes, look. Okay, so we've got Bennington, New Hampshire. We've got Salem, New Hampshire. Black Magic's from New Hampshire. Kimmy's from Hudson. Billum is from Derry. Let's see. Dover's here. Goffstown is here. Mimi is from New Hampshire. Yeah. Guys, every single one of you that's from New Hampshire, we need to be Lebanon. I used to live in Norwich, Vermont, so I was real close to Lebanon. But now I live in New Hampshire. Fighting the good fight. Concord. Kristen is from Concord. Yes. Ossipee, I think I saw. Daniel is from Ossipee. Yeah, guys. This is the time. This is our moment. We have an opportunity to provide a model for the entire rest of the country. Bitter Old Man is from Concord. Yes. Looks like Granite State Man is from where? Awesome. Yes, and if you're from another state, you can still support it. There's an option here. I'll show you. There's an option to pick out your town and your state. I think they just added that yesterday. I don't remember it being there yesterday, but I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong. But it doesn't really matter, guys. I want them to see specifically that they have support from across the country. It is not just New Hampshire. It is not. And that's okay. All right. So guys, I need to do the rest of the super chats. Hang on. But I'm gonna get this form back up, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna have the form filled out. We're gonna have it on the screen so that other people who might be watching know how they need to fill it out. That is exactly how you need to fill out the form right there. Cindy signed in Arizona. Thank you, Cindy. All right, let me go back and look at the rest of the super chats. Naruto says, on the random side, can we get some Fs in the chat for Rush? Leftist Twitter is having a field day. Guys, F in the chat for Rush. I wasn't a Rush Limbaugh fan myself, but I have to admit that when he got the Medal of Freedom at the State of the Union, I found that to be a very touching moment. And I think it's pretty awful that the left is celebrating his death. I'm going to be honest. I saw the right do the same thing with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So I think this happens on both sides. And I think it's disgusting either way. You should never celebrate someone's death, especially someone that means a lot to people. And, I'm sorry for everyone that loved him. But he was a fighter up until the end. I have to give him that. I do not agree with many things that he said. Like I said, I was not a fan of his. But I think that, he lived his life like he was a fighter, and I respect that. And I respect him standing up for people when no one else was. And I respect him blazing a trail for conservative talk radio. And I respect everything he's done. It's not my particular cup of tea, but I will still show respect on that one. All right. Return to Reason says, on it, these are the fights we need to focus on because there are ones we can win, setting up future victories. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Truman. I appreciate that. Yeah, guys, this is the fight. Right now, this fight is going to exist on the state level. That's where it's going to happen. And so every single one of us needs to show support for this bill. Again, I have all the information in the description below, everything that you need to support it. Okay, yeah. SC says, if you accidentally signed opposed, email the help desk on the government website and they can change it for you. Yes, we support this bill. We support HB 544. We needed to come out of committee with a positive recommendation. And if you didn't fill out the form correctly, once you fill out the form, you're going to be given an email address. You need to email them and say, I filled out the form incorrectly. You need to change my opposition to support. We are supporting this bill. Yeah, see, we're even seeing in the chat. Guys, I don't care. If you did this to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, don't cry that the left is doing this to Rush. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care if you agree with them or not. I don't agree with a lot of things Rush Limbaugh said, and yet I somehow was managed to put on my big girl pants and said that I was sorry that he died. Don't be like, if you act as a douche to the left, don't be surprised when they act exactly the same way to you. That's all I have to say about that. I saw this happen with our BG, and I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. All right, guys, that is really all I have. Now, has everyone submitted the form? Has everyone shown their support, especially you people in New Hampshire? Listen, man, if you live in New Hampshire and you don't do this, I will know, and I will come to your house. I'm not messing around. I am messing around. I don't know where you guys live. I don't really care. But everyone in New Hampshire especially needs to do this. Everyone needs to fill out this form. Everyone needs to pass it on. That's really all I got. I just wanted to walk you through this just to make sure that everyone knows how to do it. So if you just joined, one more time for those in the back, we are in support of Bill HB 544, relation to the propagation of divisive concepts. It is currently in committee in New Hampshire. It is in the executive departments and administration committee. There is a hearing tomorrow on this bill in which you can sign up to testify if you want. You can. If you live in New Hampshire, I strongly encourage you to. I will be testifying tomorrow. I will sit around on that Zoom call all day. It's all conducted via Zoom. So if you just like anyone can testify on this. So if you want to do it, I encourage you to, but minimally, we need to fill out this form to show our support for the bill. Yeah, Kristen says, submitted from New Hampshire. I'll my husband do it, and I'm passing it on to coworkers as soon as you're done with this video. Thank you again. Yes. Yes. This is a time to have no mercy, people. If you aren't showing up for this, I don't know what you're showing up for. I don't know what you're doing. So because Kristen said that she's going to pass this on as soon as I end this video, I'm going to end this video. All right, guys. Thank you for taking the time. No, I mean, I think that you should. I think that people from other states should submit the form because I want them to know how much support there is. So if you're, guys, listen, if you are deciding between submitting the form and being from another state or not submitting the form at all, submit the fucking form. Like, honestly, I'm sorry, but like, I don't even know why this is a question. Would the left hesitate at all to submit this form? I think many people on the left would lie and say they're from New Hampshire. If the left would not hesitate, you can't hesitate either. This is a time to pull out the big guns. Do not back down. You act exactly like the left would act because that is the only way that we can get stuff like this passed. Fill out the goddamn form. Jeez. You guys are making me yell. Yeah, AKA Glenn says, live free or die. Goddamn right. All right, guys. That's all I've got. I'm obviously losing my voice, so I'm going to end the stream. I expect everyone to fill out the form, and I expect everyone to share it with everyone you know in New Hampshire. Everyone you know. I don't want any excuses, and that's that. All right, guys. I got to go write my testimony for tomorrow. Trust me, it's going to be fiery. I've already got a plan. Chris Schultz, you're not going to like it, my friend, but you started this fight. But I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I will see you soon. Bye.